All right, today we are cracking the top on a small bottle that should be amazing. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today here on Blind Whiskey Reviews. Today we are bringing you a review of a whiskey that I hope will be as fantastic as the first release of it was. Now normally I don't do reviews on these smaller sample bottles, these type of reviews, like popping the top, on the smaller samples that are sent to me by distilleries or companies that produce whiskey. But I wanted to make an exception in this case for a couple of reasons. Number one, this whiskey is either just coming out or coming out very shortly from now. So I want to make sure you guys had the most up-to-date information on this whiskey should you come across it and feel like you may or may not want to buy it and need some information on making that decision. So I wanted to do it for that reason. But number two is I was able to try the first release of this whiskey last year on a couple of occasions, and it was near the top, if not the best whiskey I had in 2019. Now, it didn't make my list. I didn't feel like it was fair because I didn't have a bottle of the whiskey. I only got to taste two samples, courtesy of Jason from the Mash and Drum and Bobby from Adventures in Whiskey. So thank you to those guys both for allowing me to try this whiskey. It was amazing. It was the Kelvin collaboration batch 1, their first batch coming out of Foregate. So it was an amazing whiskey. It really, really was. And I think it easily probably could have bested all of the whiskeys that I had tasted last year. Very easily could have come out on top. So I am very, very excited to be able to have gotten this sample provided by the company and to be reviewing it for you today. So let's see if this batch lives up. Now, this batch is slightly different than the first batch was. So the first batch was finished in ex-sherry rum casks, and it was truly amazing. It was very complex, very robust, very sweet and flavorful, and it was just a really fantastic whiskey. This one is the Kelvin Collaboration Batch 2. Now, the Kelvin collaboration is a collaboration with the Kelvin cooperage, which Foregate works with to provide barrels and to do other barrel aging, secondary stuff and whatnot. So the Kelvin collaboration batch 2 is a 12-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey finished in cognac and rum casks, dark rum casks. So hopefully it will be equally as amazing, and I am so excited to crack this top. So let's get into it. So this isn't going to be the normal cork popping top we've got, but let's see if I can give you a little crackle here. That was more of a little snap. It smells fantastic. I mean, you can definitely smell the rum right off. Now, I'm not going to pour too much because I want to save enough to do a blind review for you guys down the line here as well. We got plenty left in here, so we'll definitely be doing a blind review. Obviously, I don't know when the blind review will be coming up, but hopefully it'll be soon. But let's get into the nose on this whiskey. Very, very dark. Incredibly dark. Mahogany if I've ever seen it. Sweet nose. Big, rich, dark fruits. I mean, right off the top. You're getting some of those sweet bourbon characters. That dark brown sugar, vanilla, dark cherry. Some other dark fruit in there too. You know, you're getting like that black currant, that plum. Some berry characters. Definitely stays on the dark side. And there's definitely some heat here. I mean, you can feel the alcohol coming off it. You can't really get too far into the glass. I don't recall what the proof on this was off the top. 126.4 proof. So, definitely up there in the proof. Like I said, you can't really get in on the glass. It's definitely got some heat to it. You can smell the oak. I mean, there's definitely a woodiness to it. And there's even some light fruit characters hiding in there. It's a really complex nose, and hopefully that follows through on the palate. And really, that was kind of the marks on the first Kelvin collaboration, their batch 1, was that it was just so complex. Every sip was a little different. You could find some new flavors, some new complexities, something else stood out. And that was what was really fantastic about it. So I'm really hoping this is going to be the same. So let's find out. Cheers. Oh yeah. So far this one definitely does not disappoint. Lots of sweet fruity notes. Not a ton of heat. It's very, very easy drinking for 126 proof. You really can't, I mean, you can get the flavor impact of that kind of proof, but there definitely is not the heat to match yet as of my first sip. Tons of great characters here. Tasting a lot of those rum characters. To be honest, it feels like there's sherry here, even though they're not saying there's any sherry casks involved. I mean, it almost has a sherry-like quality to it as well with those dark, sweet dark fruits. Let's get another taste. Man, this one does the same thing the last one did for me. So just tons of complexity, tons of different notes every time you taste it. Up front, you've got light fruits, you've got berry characters, you've got dark fruits. Same ones I described kind of on the first taste in the nose. You've got this grapey, this dark, like overripe grape quality. You've got the black cherry quality. You've got the dark brown sugar and molasses. You've got tobacco. You've got leather. You've got oak, vanilla, crossing the palate, providing you a ton of warmth, but no harshness. There is not a bit of harsh, bitey character on this whiskey so far. Just a nice, smooth flavor just exploding out of it the entire way over the palate. Finish is the longer side of medium. It's not incredibly long. You're left with some flavor, but it doesn't have the impact or the intensity that it has, obviously while it's on the palate. You're definitely left with some characters after the fact. Has a nice coating kind of mouthfeel. The finish isn't as long as that is, but I mean, it is very good. One more taste here before we let it sit for a sec. Damn, that's good. So, I'm not picking anything up that screams cognac to me. Now, I'm no cognac expert. I've tried a few. I've definitely tried some whiskeys that are cognac finished. And I'm not picking up anything that screams cognac to me, but maybe that grape-like character is part of it. It is delicious, though. So, I don't know how they do these sample bottlings, if they just come right off the barrels in the line and the blend and just put it right into the sample bottles, if they're pouring these out of larger bottles and they've gotten a little more aeration, but doesn't matter. As always, we're going to give this whiskey a little bit of time to open up in the glass, 20, 30 minutes. Give it the opportunity to open up and see if it gives us any hints as to what's going to happen when this whiskey gets the chance to get a little bit more airtime. So I'm going to give it that time and we will be right back. All right, so the whiskey has been in the glass for right about 30 minutes. So it's had a little bit of chance to open up. Hopefully it shows us a new side of itself and shows maybe what it could potentially be with a little bit extra airtime. So let's get it into the nose. God, just so rich, so inviting, and it hasn't changed a whole lot since the beginning. I'm maybe picking up a note of that cognac now, though. I'm feeling like this, to me, cognac comes off a bit sweet and a little bit has this weird spice to it. And I maybe picked up a little bit of that, but only one way to find out. Let's get into the taste. That's good. It's good. It hasn't changed a whole lot since we first tasted it. I'm really not picking up any additional notes I perceive as cognac. I smelled a little something on the nose, but it hasn't come across on the palate yet. You just have so many nice, rich, deep, dark characters and qualities here. You have a nice, intense flavor profile. And like I said, there's just no harshness to it. With the 12 years of age that this thing has, it's definitely not over oaked. That oak balances out very nicely with the sweet characters that are here. There's tons of complexity, and it's just so easy drinking over the palate. There is just not a hint of a harshness to it. You've got that nice warming heat, but it doesn't come to that like harsh tingling burn on your tongue. There's none of it. It just explodes with flavor. Really, really good. Let me get one more taste on this stuff before I sing its praises anymore. Yeah, just really, really solidly blended whiskey. They did a fantastic job with this. Now, you've gotten my notes. You know how I feel about this thing. I think it is really good. And you guys know me if you've been watching my channel before. If you haven't, go watch some of my other videos. You'll get the feel. But you know me, I'm honest. I'm never gonna BS you guys and tell you guys something I don't believe. And I believe this is really fantastic whiskey. Is it as good as the first batch? To be honest with you guys, I couldn't tell you. Like I said, I only had 2 tastes of the first batch. Jason sent me, I think, a couple ounces of it, so I had that one. I poured that a couple of times. At Bobby's house, I think I tasted maybe about half an ounce or an ounce of it over the course of a little bit of time. So I have not had enough opportunity to spend with that whiskey to be able to tell you whether this one is similar to that one or not. I definitely note the differences. They're both very rich, very complex, nice balance of sweetness, oak, bitterness. I mean, they're just very, very well made. So I can tell you this has a lot of those same qualities. Is it the same as the other release? I couldn't tell you. I'd have to have them side by side. So I don't have that. Can't do that for you. I would love to, but I can't. So anyways, really, really good whiskey. As for the price, now I gotta warn you guys, this is not cheap whiskey. This bottle retails, I believe, at right around $200. So, again, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you kind of know how I feel about high price points. So, I can't tell you whether this is worth $200 or not, because it really, at that price point, has to be in your wheelhouse. For me, anything over that like $120, $130 price point, I mean, it really is much more specific. If it's going to be worth it, it has to be worth it to you and not just to me. If it's worth it to me, that doesn't mean anything to you, because that price point is it's on the extreme end. It's a high-end premium price point. Is this whiskey worth it to you? I don't know. I really do think it is fantastic, and I only anticipate it getting better with having a little bit of airtime on it. So I'm going to let this sample sit for a couple of weeks, maybe 3, 4, and pour a sample out so we can do a blind review of this, and I can just give you the total unbiased review of this whiskey. But I can tell you right now, it is going to come out on the high side because this stuff is fantastic, and there's just no denying it. Blind, not blind, doesn't matter. It's really, really good stuff. For a score, you guys know how I am. I'm always so reluctant to give really high scores, but I think this one is just very, very deserving. It is fantastic. It is well blended. I enjoy everything about it. For me, it is in my wheelhouse. This is great whiskey. And I'm going to give it a score of a 90. It's a 94. This is fantastic stuff, guys. So take that for what you will. That's one of the highest scores, if not the highest score I've given on this channel. I've never given anything higher than a 94. I may have given another 94. I've never given a 95 or above. That hasn't happened. So this is fantastic stuff. I cannot wait to see what the blind review brings, and hopefully you're excited for it too, and hopefully that comes up before too long. I got a lot of blind samples to go through though, so hopefully it pops up before too long. But anyways, I hope you guys get the opportunity to try this. I'm not going to ask you what you think about it because I know most of you haven't had the chance to get it yet because it's either just coming out or not out yet. So hopefully you get the opportunity to buy a bottle. If you've got that money and you want to do it, go for it. You will not be disappointed. As always, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at blind_reviews. You can catch me on Instagram at Mission Bottle Kill, where I'm posting pictures of people posting amazing kills of whiskey, just emptying out the best bottles you can find and the cheapest bottles you can find. I don't care. I'm looking for the best pictures of people killing bottles of whiskey. So if you can take one of those, tag at Mission Bottle Kill in your post, and I will repost that picture on my account. You can also send me an email at blindwhiskeyreviews, that's whiskey with an E, @gmail.com. And until next time, cheers.